What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dimmy V Gaming. So, as the title suggests, we are going to have a closer look at a game called SkullGirls Second Encore for the PlayStation 4. This is actually an enhanced version of SkullGirls Encore, which was also released for the PlayStation 4. It is a 2D fighting game with its very own unique art style, which was hand-drawn. So is it just some other wannabe fighting game that is adding some additional cleavage? Or is there a lot more to this game? Let's find out and see how much it scored on the V scale. So, what is this game all about? The story is actually pretty straightforward and simple, which is understandable for a fighting game. We don't want too much deep plots, we just want to beat each other senseless. It takes place in Canopy Kingdom, a country who shows a lot of similarities with a post-war 1940s America. Each character is actually fighting for the opportunity to be able to control an artifact called the Skull Heart, which can grant wishes, although it does come at a cost. If you are impure of heart, you become a monster that haunts humanity. But this does, of course, in return give a reason for a sequel, and this could go on and on like this. As for the gameplay, one thing that immediately stands out is that this is a very fast-paced game, especially when playing on harder difficulties. You can sprout out one amazing trick after the other if you so desire, but receive a lot of backfire as well. The game lets you choose if you want to play with one super strong character, two medium strong characters, or three weaker characters. When you choose three characters, actually all hell breaks loose. The game is already fast-paced on its own, but when you start switching between characters all the time or let other fighters drop in for a quick attack, things just seem to go wild. Me and some friends tested this out and holy cow, my eyes could not follow everything that was happening on the screen. Other than that though, the combos are not that hard once you figure them out, so the learning curve isn't too high. This game features a story mode, arcade mode, versus mode, training room, tutorial mode, and you can also play online. In this revamped version, there's also challenges, trials, and a survival mode, to keep everything fresh and the challenge real. I especially liked the story mode, because it really gives you a peek into the reasons why every character is going after the Skull Girl or the Skull Heart. This is being presented in a text-based conversation between characters with a lovely hand-drawn background behind this. Before, you actually had to read everything, but in this version they actually added full voiceovers for the characters, so you can just lean back and watch the story unfold, with some good fights in between. As I mentioned before though, when certain things are happening in the conversations in the story mode, like an explosion or something, it doesn't really give a big impact, so it's just something you see vaguely happening in the background, and I think they could have done that a little better. Although it also adds to the feel and the charm, of course, of the game. The music also goes together nicely with the fights, it really keeps you in the zone. It's not really a soundtrack that actually stood out for me though, but it was definitely nice and fitting for the game. I couldn't imagine any other music for it. So, as you probably already noticed, this is a 2D fighting game and everything is hand-drawn. It has its own particular style, who isn't shy on some cleavage here and there. But hey, that's Japan for you, I guess. Everything is wrapped up in a 1940s vibe, which they really got down nicely. You could think you are in one of those old movies you see on television. It also makes me think of games like BlazBlue and Guilty Gear. So lastly, the characters. Most of them are pretty cool and each have their own fighting style, which either works for you or doesn't. I had a few characters that I was bad with, but then another with which I crushed every opponent that crossed my path. So we have Philia, and she is a schoolgirl whose hair got possessed by a demon called Samson, which gave her amnesia. There's Sarabella, who is a circus artist that is the wielder of a living weapon called Vice Versa, so it's basically a hat with strong arms. Then there's Peacock. Peacock is a human girl that was turned into a anti-Skullgirl biomechanical weapon by a professor. She's especially good at ranged combat. Parasol is the princess of the Renoir family, which are the rulers of Canopy Kingdom. She also wields a living weapon called Creek, which is pretty much an umbrella with an attitude. Misfortune is a feline feral, which is practically undead because of the life gem that she swallowed. She can decapitate and throw her head at you without a problem. Painwheel was once a sweet little schoolgirl named Carol before she got kidnapped and transformed into a monster that she is now by Valentine and Brain. Valentine is the last surviving member of a group of Black Ops soldiers and is now working with Double and Marie, who is the current SkullGirl. Next up we have Double, and she is a hideous transforming creature who is working for Trinity, which is responsible for making sure that the Skull Heart falls into the right hands. She currently disguises herself as a nun called Sister Agatha. Squiggly is a undead girl who can't speak because of the parasite which is housing into her called Leviathan. Her mother also used to be a Skullgirl. Big Band used to be a policeman, but now he also has been transformed into a cybernetic weapon which wields musical instruments. Fukua is actually a clone of Philia, and she is actually a joke character that was implemented on April Fool's Day of 2014, but she still managed to stay in the game. Eliza is a celebrity diva that has been housing the skeletal parasite Sekhmet for years. Everything around her is in the theme of Egypt, which you can tell by her striking resemblance of Cleopatra. Beowulf is a former wrestler who retired at the height of his career and is now making his comeback. And last but not least we have Robo Fortune, who is a robot created by Brain Drain, and she has the striking resemblance of Miss Fortune, but with some pretty cool tricks added to her arsenal of skills. So in conclusion, I had a ton of fun with this game. It has a fun story, fast-paced playstyle with cool hand-drawn art, good music and fun characters, so it's well worth the play if you are into 2D fighting games. So I had been thinking of starting to score my games as an additional feature to show how much I liked or appreciated a game. So I'm gonna be starting to give these games a V-score on the V-scale. Get it? V-score? V-scale? Dimmy V? Hey, V, Dimmy V? No? Really? Okay. So I am giving this game a V-score of... drum rolls please. 8 out of 10. Congratulations. It really is a great game, guys. So if you like this episode, be sure to leave a like and or subscribe, and I'll see you guys on my next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and cheers, guys.